Hello, friends. I'm Bob Fisher from Kairos Communities, and today is January 6th, the Feast of the Epiphany. It's based on a story from Matthew's Gospel, the second chapter, verses 1 to 12. You may well be familiar with this story from Christmas pageants that feature a star and three kings. Today, I'd like to focus on some ways that Epiphany can guide us on our spiritual journeys. Now, these three kings were likely not kings at all, but they were wise men. They were, in fact, priests of Zoroastrianism, an ancient Persian religion, and their job was to watch the heavens for signs and portents of things to come. They very likely hailed from the territory that we would now call Iran. What's fascinating is that they followed both their curiosity and their instincts, looking for this birth that had been prophesied. No status quo for them. It's notable, too, that they actually knew the prophecy about the birth of a new king that the current king, Herod, wasn't even aware of, or so it seemed. He had to turn to his religious experts for explanation. This reminds us that it's not always the religious that get the revelations of the divine. And it reveals that God really wants to be found in the most unlikely places, even and perhaps especially when God's religious followers don't know or have forgotten where to look. Herod, on the other hand, displays the fear and duplicity that is often expressed by people whose identity and great power is being threatened. So these foreigners, and they were unexpected people, much like the lower-class shepherds watching in the remote fields who saw the angel's first announcement of Jesus' birth. These foreigners recognized that this epiphany, the appearance of Christ in the world, was indeed power-upsetting and status quo shattering. And it turns out that they were more open to a further revelation from God, this time in a dream, than they were afraid of Herod's imperial power and directives. One might call them the #resistance of the day. But their decision to go home by another path is also a wonderful metaphor for the spiritual journey that you and I live every day. Having encountered the divine in the world, having encountered love and radiance of this type, who would want to go back the old paths? So just as the story tells of three kings, I think it also presents three questions for us to ponder as we celebrate this Epiphany. The first is, where is love and reconciliation appearing today? Is it outside of, as well as inside of faith communities? Second, what powers of empire and status quo require our resistance now? And finally, what new paths is love directing you on in this new year? Well, happy pondering this Epiphany Day. If you have questions or comments, leave them below. I look forward to the conversation. Peace.